What is it with the month of December constantly delivering and cooking up bangers? Every month of December, every year, it's always a big card, a stacked card in December, or a fight itself that ends up delivering and ends up being extremely entertaining. And UFC Austin was no different. This card was the definition of a banger from start to finish. We had the main card opener, Pinelli Soriano versus Dustin Stoltzfus, and the card started off with a finish. And I mean, there were 6 fights on this main card, and only 2 fights went the distance, which was Guida and Silva and Figgy and Font. But even those fights were entertaining. Clay Guida versus Joaquim Silva was an insane fight. I picked Guida just based off heart because Clay Guida is a fan favorite. And I'll admit I didn't really watch much Joaquim Silva footage. I've only known him as the guy who got destroyed by Arman Sarukian. And Guida seems to do good against these, up-and-coming prospects with little experience. But, silly pick on my part. I thought Pinelli could pull through. I guess not. He got subbed. But let's talk about the most disappointing one of the card. Kelvin Gastelum. Oh my gosh. He lets everyone down once again. And it's so sad because Kelvin Gastelum literally went through this whole reinvention arc. He finally became disciplined. He put away the tacos. And he went back, he made a decision to go back to the welterweight division, 170. And the opponent they chose for him was Sean Brady. And we all thought that Kelvin Gastelum could beat the guy who got TKO'd by Pillow Hands Bilal Muhammad. But nope, Kelvin Gastelum couldn't get the job done. And Brady had to make Bilal, remember the name, look good by dominating Kelvin Gastelum and finishing Kelvin Gastelum. Kelvin literally had nothing, and I mean nothing for Sean Brady in terms of the wrestling. He just got absolutely dominated. It was one-way traffic, couldn't even touch him, and now Kelvin goes back to his losing ways. He was on a 3-fight losing streak that started in 2019-20. And then he had more L's. So 5 losses. 6 losses now, in the last the last 4 years, and only literally 2 wins. He's only won twice since 2021. That's insane. I mean, this dude went from literally being undefeated at one point to then only having 2 losses, but being able to put together a good streak. Now all this guy does is lose, and he gets subbed by Sean Brady. So much for that. I mean, at this point, I really don't know what's next for Kelvin Gastelum. I can't suggest that he goes back to middleweight because he literally went back down for a reason, because he's too small for middleweight, and he only went to middleweight because he wasn't disciplined enough to consistently make 170. So I don't know what they're going to do with Kelvin Gastelum. I mean, I'm going to look at these rankings. I mean, really, who is there for Mr. Gastelum? I mean, he could fight Kevin Holland, maybe. I want to say a rematch with Magny, but he'd probably find a way to lose that. Yeah, it's over for Kelvin. He just needs to be fed some unranked bum potentially, because he's never winning again at an elite level, as sad as it is to say. He hasn't been the same since that war with Israel Adesanya. That's just facts. Since then, the L's just continue to stack up, and it just doesn't seem like there's anything Gastelum can do about it. But good win for Sean Brady, though. He proved us all wrong. Now what's next for Sean Brady? He called out Ian Gary. I don't know if that's a viable option. if Ian Gary beats Vicente Luque, which he most likely will. If he beats Luque, he's going to look to go up the rankings and get himself a fight that's going to get him a title shot. He's not going to look to go backwards and fight Sean. So the only other option I could see being for him is maybe reschedule a JDM fight, or maybe fight Gilbert Burns, potentially Jeff Neal, or maybe even a fight with Vicente Luque. That's possible. But yeah, sucks for Gastelum, but good win for Brady. And then Rob Font versus Davison Figueiredo. I'm happy for my boy Davison that he pulled through. He pulled through with the dub by the grace of God. After it seemed like he was done from that fourth Brandon Moreno fight, it seemed like there was no hope for him. Like, this guy can't really, healthily make 125 anymore, but he might be too small for the bantamweight division. I mean, he proved me wrong. I picked Rob Font to win this fight. I thought Rob Font was going to jab his face off and just outbox him to a decision, be the bigger man in there, and treat Figgy like the smaller opponent. But Figgy went out there, man. He showed his superior skills to Rob Font. He was faster than Rob Font despite being smaller than him. And he showed why he was the former flyweight champion. He just straight up outskilled Rob Font and was able to go out there, use his grappling advantage, get takedowns on Rob, outstrike Rob Font, and he won the fight 30-27 against Rob Font. He sealed it by wobbling Font at the end and getting the takedown. Dominant performance by Davison Figueiredo. Now, what's next for him in the bantamweight division? Everyone's talking about himself versus Petr Yan, which honestly, that's not a bad idea. He just beat Rob Font, the number 8 guy. I'd say give him Petr Yan. Yan's on a losing streak, not looking too hot right now. Figgy could potentially be an opponent that could get Yan back in the win column, or Petr Yan is going to be the guy who's going to further propel Figgy up this division and get Figgy closer to a title shot. But I'm just glad to see Figueiredo back in the win column and, against someone not named Brandon Moreno for once. Like, I've had my fill of that rivalry. They fought 4 times in a row. Glad to see Figgy get a fresh start and get the win. Awesome stuff. And then the co-main event, Jalen Turner versus Bobby Green. Man, I did horrid on picks. Like, this is the first card where I didn't get a single pick right. And of course, Jalen Turner made me look stupid when he sent Bobby Green to the gulag. I mean, this is a good fight for as long as it lasted. Very entertaining fight. But I thought Bobby Green was just going to be the fresher fighter in there with the better weight cut, and that he'd just be too quick for, the bigger man, Jalen Turner, and outbox him to a decision. But I should have took into consideration just the overall size and length advantage for Jalen Turner and the power advantage of Jalen Turner as well. And Jalen is very much similar to a style of Dan Hooker, who I was going to pick to KO Bobby Green. I do think that Hooker was going to do to Green what Jalen did to him, but I think I just underestimated Jalen because he lost to Dan Hooker, and recency bias got me. And Bobby, he was on a hot streak. So, but I should have took into consideration, man, that Bobby Green's always fighting with his hands down, chin up. And you can't be doing that against a taller, longer, more powerful opponent, because that's how you get caught. Jalen Turner's not one of these guys who's like shorter than Bobby Green, who'd struggle to find his way in. He doesn't have to get on the inside of Bobby Green. Bobby has to come to him if he wants to land. So he was at such a physical disadvantage against such a dangerous opponent. And unfortunately, he got put to sleep. That was a horrible stoppage, though. I mean, originally, I wasn't mad at the stoppage. I was like, come on, ref, give him a chance to recover. In the moment, I was kind of being a bit of a dumbass. But looking back, yeah, that fight should have been stopped way sooner. It didn't need to drag on as long as it did. But as long as Bobby Green's okay, which I hope he is, I hope he's doing well, then it's all good. But great win for Jalen, the Tarantula Turner. What's next for Jalen? I mean, he's right back where he left off. I think he was undefeated at lightweight. Or no, he wasn't undefeated. He had the one loss to Matt Frevola, but he was on a win streak before Dan Hooker beat him. So I'd say the fight to make next would probably be... Screw it. Just give him Beneil Dariush, who I'm going to talk about very soon. I know Beneil's coming off a loss, and he cannot handle powerful strikers. But if Beneil's going to continue to fight, this is a cruel sport. The UFC, they can't do him any favors. He's not going to get Michael Chandler. Poirier's not going to take a fight with him. Justin Gaethje won't take a fight with him. Charles is due for a title shot. Fiziev is injured. I mean, maybe he could go down the rankings and fight Benoit Saint Denis. That could be an option. Or you know what? Maybe reschedule the Moicano fight, because that fight was actually in the works. Drew Dober also called him out. That could be an option. But, good win for Jalen Turner to get back in the win column. Insane KO. I was in awe of that. And then the main event... Poor Beneil Dariush. 2023 has been a horrible year for Benny Dariush. He's been on the receiving end of two brutal first round KOs. First, he gets knocked out in the first round by Charles Oliveira. And then he gets heamed in the first round by Arman Tsarukyan. It looked like Arman faked the knee. And then Beneil Dariush bit on that feint and then got caught by a big right hand and they just died. And that was the fight. I totally did not expect that. I didn't know who would really win going in this fight. That's why I didn't really make a prediction video for that fight, because I couldn't really make up my mind. And then Saturday, I had work, so I didn't really have time to actually go out of my way to record something. So I posted my verdict picks and I'm like, roll a dice, go with Dariush. Because he's the seasoned veteran and, he might be a more technical striker than Arman. And, it's a grappler versus grappler matchup. So usually the grappling cancels each other out. I thought we may see a striking match, which could maybe favor Beneil. But I was wrong. I totally did not see Dariush getting knocked out like that. I thought if Dariush was going to lose, he'd just get out-wrestled and worn down and ground and pounded. I thought that's how he could lose to Arman Tsarukyan. Not on the feet, not by being knocked out. But that just shows how dangerous Arman Tsarukyan is, the power he possesses, because Tsarukyan, he has put people to sleep on the feet before. So this shouldn't have came as a surprise, but yeah, Beneil just cannot handle powerful strikers and fast starters. He could not handle the fast start of Alexander Hernandez in the first round, got bombed. And then Charles Oliveira, he's a fast starter. Beneil's a slow starter. He needs a bit of time to get warmed up. And Charles didn't give him that chance. Arman didn't give him that chance. So, yeah, unfortunately for Beneil, at this point, he's finished 2 knockout losses in a row after that win streak he put together. He's not going to see a title shot anytime soon. If I'm Beneil, honestly, I'm retiring. You don't need to fight anymore. You're getting old. You're getting up there in age. You already got kids. You already got a family. You know what I'm saying? Just focus on taking care of them, being a good father. Maybe move on to being a coach or something like that. But fighting, it's not worth all the brain damage. And I just can't see Beneil really winning anymore at an elite level. And it sucks because I like Beneil. It sucks to see this happen to such a great guy like Beneil Dariush. But as far as Arman Tsarukyan is concerned, I really don't know who's going to be next for him, because he's unfortunately in an era filled with entitled top 5 lightweights. Gaethje will not take a fight with him. He's going to wait for a title shot or take a money fight. Dustin Poirier is only looking for money fights, and Arman's not that big name that's going to get him excited, so that's not going to happen. Chandler's waiting for Conor McGregor. That's not going to happen. He could fight Oliveira, but I think Oliveira's due a title shot, so he might have to rematch Mateos Gamrot. I thought he arguably won the last time they fought. They could run that back. He can get some get back against Matthias Gamrot, beat his ass. And I think he'd finish Gamrot in a rematch, in all honesty. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I think that could make sense. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure who Arman Tsarukyan could fight, but he's in a great position right now. He beat a top 4 guy. He's going to be in the top 4, top 3 soon, and he's further put himself in a position to get a rematch with Islam Makhachev. Imagine how big that rematch would be. You know, the first fight happened in 2019, and Arman's debut, short notice, and that fight was such a close war, but Islam edged it. Now both guys have massively improved since that fight. I think the hype surrounding that fight, the rematch, would be insane. Good storyline. I think the first fight was ahead of its time. I hope the second fight happens, but if anyone in this division has a chance at beating Islam Makhachev, it's definitely Arman Tsarukyan. But what an amazing card, man. I really enjoyed it. Lived up to the hype. Didn't do a prediction video, but I decided to make up for it by doing a recap video and just giving all my thoughts. That being said, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe, and peace out.